everybody, I'm Mihailo Sakiris and this is Future Games. I am with Rustan Hopinson and Nations, the dice game. So tell us more about the game.
Okay, so we have the base game, Nations, the dice game, and we have the upcoming expansion, UNREST, that is in print right now and didn't make it to Essen, but it will make it for after Christmas, so in the spring. So it's really in the print right now. The dice were really difficult for the first round, and now they have been difficult again. So now finally the dice are right and they are in production. So the base game starts with a board like this here, like Greece. This is a starting board for the base game. You have very much similarity to the big Nations game in that every building gives you a white die that makes you resources. And you start with some chits as well. You have space for building on a wonder, and you have space for an advisor. And during the game, you upgrade. You buy things from a display that is put out here. So things on the first row cost 1 gold. Second row, 2 gold, then 3 gold. If you have a colony, then it costs you swords instead. And you need to roll swords on your die. One sword gives you 1 colony in this case, but here you need to have 2 swords to get the colony, because it's on the second row. So on your turn, very similar to big Nations, you make one small thing. You buy one of these tiles, or you do something on your board. You complete a wonder, like if you have a wonder on the construction here, you can pay lots of stone to finish the wonder, and then you move it off the board, and then your turn is done. Or you can use a re-roll to roll some of your dice, and then your turn is done. So it goes around the table very, very quickly. And in the base game, still here, you start with some books, and then you compete on the books, same as in big Nations, but instead of having 8 rounds like the big game, it only has 4 rounds, so it's very quick, very fast, and scoring after every round. So scoring based on not exactly how much points you have, but your relative position to the other players. So if you're first, it doesn't matter if you only have 5 books. If you're first, you get the most points. If there's very heavy competition and you have 20, you get exactly the same amount of points as if you've been 5, as long as you're the first. But what you're really competing about is the victory points. Now here you start with 0 and steadily increase during the game. So each round you make a new display of tiles here, so 1 set of tiles for every round, and continuously upgrade. And you can even upgrade within the same round. So if you take a tile, like this is a building, you replace something, you toss away the card the dice that you have from the old building, and you get the new stuff, and you roll it immediately. And you feel really powerful by doing that. You upgrade and then can use it again. And what you do with your turn is very important, because the other players will do the things that you want to do, and you want to do it first. And now with the upcoming expansion, it turns this very streamlined and easy for new players to play game into a gamer's game. It adds several components that all work well together. They are not a mixed bag. You can use anything you want. You need to use them as a whole package. And they increase the choices and the chances that you take and the competition in various ways, and they work well together. And they add some elements like this, UNREST. If you roll UNREST, you have to care about it. Your people are unhappy. You can either spend time to re-roll all your UNREST dice and get a lot of resources for them. Or you can say, screw you, I don't want to deal with you this time, I just move you away and then do a normal turn. But then you lose the potential resources that you get from that die. So this is UNREST, that's the name of the game where they come from. And they interact with the other components, so you might want to roll some UNREST to be late in turn order, be late to pass. So these are special tiles that come out 1 per round. This round, for example, the one who produces the most books will get 2 victory points. And these tiles are available every round. The first player to pass will take 1 of the tiles. Second player takes 1 of the others, except that the last player never takes 1. So in 2 players, only the first player takes 1. So they make a lot more interesting choices available because you're often only one resource away from something that you want to do.
Okay.
And especially in a round where something like this comes up, each of these gives not just one book, but 2 books, or 2 food, or 2 swords. And if you combine this with the new events that give you lots of food, give lots of points, that's something that the food tile becomes very important, because 5, sure, you can get up that, but 6, it's so hard. So you really want to be the one to pass first. And we have new stuff like this, the pass first tiles, the pass first. Oh, what did I say? The quick rerolls. So instead of taking a full round to do a reroll and then your turn is over, like in the normal game, if you have one of these, they provide you with a chance to do a quick reroll. You roll your dice and then it's still your turn. And it makes a huge difference to the things that you are potentially able to do. So the other players can't think about, okay, what can you do exactly, but there is a more uncertainty with this, so you take more chances.
Okay.
And of course more tiles that are interesting and mix things up. And one of the biggest things is the boards. So in the normal game, like the grease board, all the boards are the same and with no backside. But these add a lot more complexity. They have different setups, all of them, and they are eight of them. So they give you lots of potential differences already from the start. And you, like this Poland, it has space for 2 advisors, and that's a lot different from the others. And like these Arabs, there are 2 spaces for building wonders, so you can pick stuff that the others might want without having to finish the first one. So this is a large package that makes it into a gamer's game.
A question: how about the luck of the dice? How much does it count? Is there any mitigation of the dice?
Yeah, you can use 2 dice for as something else, and you can use the rerolls.
So you get to have some
to roll again. Yep.
Yeah.
So you start with some rerolls, and then you get more. Then you can take, okay, no, I don't care what these roll. I use them for something else. So,
okay.
So there is lots of stuff that you can do about that, and you don't roll and then you're stuck with that. You can do lots of things about it. But the question is it really in your best interest to reroll now, or because then it takes a full turn, and or even with the quick rerolls. Do I really want to use them now? I might want to upgrade my dice and then have the possibility to re-roll those dice later. So it's tricky decisions all around, even though you have flexibility.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, guys, this was Nations of Dice game along with UNREST the expansion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.